Hi guys, it's Gordon at Kaizen Active, and today I want to talk about how our environment is shaping us and what we can do in respect of our environment so that we can kind of get the outcomes that we want to get in life. Hopefully this is going to be a really kind of fresh perspective for a lot of you. It's going to shed a bunch of light on something I'm sure that kind of causes most people difficulties, and it's going to make kind of changing your behaviours and getting what you want kind of nice and easy. So let's have a look and see what I'm talking about. So we started off by saying our environment shapes us. If we go back to kind of what we would have heard from Darwin is that we're we're products of our environment, I guess, if you like, and we've got this survival of the fittest type thing. So those that can do well in their environment are the ones that are going to survive. And I guess nowadays we've got a very different environment, and I guess the other thing is kind of humans more than kind of any other species actually shape or have the ability to influence and shape their own environments. So actually for me, kind of the problems that we have currently often come as a result of our just not being aware of how our environment is shaping us and not controlling it and not influencing it. But let's talk a little bit more about it. So there are lots of different things in our environment, but really what I'm thinking about is kind of just very generically, and I'm going to kind of break down environments into 6 separate types. But just in the first instance, anything that we can see, hear, kind of smell, feel, touch, kind of anything at all that's influencing us is in essence kind of our environment. What our brain is doing all the time is it's asking a question. If you like, it's trying to make sense of an environment, and it's asking, am I safe? And what can I kind of take advantage of here to get what I want, or what do I need to avoid? So that's what the brain's doing all the time. It's asking kind of, am I safe? And what basically is affecting me? Now, depending on the answer for that, again, kind of thinking back to kind of previous videos, if we don't feel safe, then that changes how we feel. And in fact, I just wanted to make a wee note that the part of the brain, amygdala, the part of the brain that is doing that kind of constant searching for, do I feel safe, how am I feeling, is everything kind of okay here, is called the amygdala. Now the amygdala sets something called the hedonic tone. Okay, and what the hedonic tone does is it in essence colours or kind of dictates our feelings. So can I be relaxed? Do I feel good? Is everything great here? In which case we've almost got that kind of rose-coloured or rose-tinted glasses. Or is everything kind of, or are other threats in my environment? Could this well be problematic for me? So the amygdala sets the hedonic tone. It's either going to make us feel good, bad, or indifferent. But in essence, that there is influencing our feelings. And as we covered in a previous video, the feelings affect the thoughts affect the stories we tell ourselves, the stories we tell ourselves affect our actions. So therefore, anything in our environment that we can influence or shape that can positively impact upon our feelings is going to help improve the outcome, or rather the actions that we'll take, and ultimately the outcome that we're going to get. So the environment is really, really, really important. So let's talk about the 6 primary environments, just to bring them to the forefront of your mind so that you can get an idea of what's really going on and sometimes very much standing in the way of why you're not behaving the way you want to, and therefore why you struggle to get the outcome that you want. So there are 6 primary environments. We'll start off with the first one, and it's inner self. And inner self is really kind of everything that we're seeing, kind of feeling or touching or thinking, anything at all, kind of it's our interpretation of everything. So if we kind of watch a video that makes us feel sad, kind of or listen to some music that makes us feel upbeat, or so anything at all kind of in that example, kind of for inner self, is going to kind of impact on how we feel. So that would be kind of one of the first things. So therefore, anything that we do to change how inner self is kind of is getting on is going to be kind of a really positive thing. Outer self, in fact, let's just add a little bit to that. Naked outer self is how we feel kind of about kind of our skin, or kind of how bright our eyes look, kind of our teeth, kind of our body composition. So again, this is another thing that's really influencing how we feel. Next, if we go for, let's go for projected. This is the version of us that we want the world to see, if you like. So kind of whether it be the brand on our t-shirt, the fitness band we're wearing, the tattoos, the technology that we're kind of wandering about with. This is what we want people to think of it. So that would be the next one. Then we've got, instead of self, we've now got different spaces. So we've got home space, so everything in your house, I mean literally everything in every room, is again potentially shaping how we're feeling about different things. And I'll go on and run through these and talk about how we can impact how we're feeling so that we can change our actions, change our outcomes. But after home, we would have work. And with that, I mean the things that we can influence at work. There's of course things we can't influence, so I'm going to leave that out. But there will be things that we can influence, such as where we work ultimately is a thing that we can influence of it. But if work was awful, we might want to change that. But we definitely want to kind of, in fact, I will dig into that because I had a great example yesterday of someone's workspace that was making winning more difficult than their previous workspace. So talk about that. And then last, outer space. And outer space is kind of pretty much everything else. So if you imagine, for me, the journey to work, kind of from home to work, is kind of outer space, anywhere that's not any of these other ones. So these are the 6 environments. Let me run through very quickly how each of these can be influenced or manipulated to help you feel better, so that you have better thoughts, tell yourself better stories, have ultimately better actions that lead on from the stories we tell ourselves, and get the outcome that you want. So, inner self, how can we influence how we feel? Well, a really quick one would be a great night's sleep. If you get a great night's sleep, you wake up in the morning, everything feels better, absolutely. So that would be one way to do it. And of course, if everything feels better, doesn't everything downstream? And think of this as a flow. Everything downstream of environment is getting impacted by environment. So this becomes really vital, because anything, like for example, again, I've mentioned this before, but trying to have positive mental attitude down at a thoughts level will be adversely affected if your environment's stealing from that and making you feel bad. So having a great night's sleep would really positively impact. But another example of kind of inner self that people maybe kind of miss out would be, if we take on food that makes us feel really good, then again, that's really positive. But if we take on food that in some way makes us feel bad, then that's going to impact kind of on our actions. And haven't we all seen that before, where we're on a diet, it's really restrictive, so in that respect it's not making us feel great anyway. Then we break the diet and tell ourselves a bunch of stories about how terribly we've done. That impacts on our actions both at the time, but then don't we just go, oh, well, sod it, I may as well just wait till Monday and get back to it. In the meantime, all bets are off and I'm just going to do whatever. So a couple of examples of how inner self is affecting our environment, affecting our feelings, and ultimately right all the way down to getting in the way of or potentially supporting the outcome we want. Outer self, this is one where if we feel that we look really good, then everything again becomes much easier. But if there's something about us that we're really, what's the word I would be looking for, that we're really kind of conscious of, then kind of that in itself can make us feel bad. So for me, kind of a great example would be moving from a house that had no mirrors, so I could see me from here up, but I couldn't see me from here down, and I'd maybe let things go a little bit. Had let things go a little bit, get rid of the maybe there, not telling quite the whole truth, and I had this little kind of tummy thing creeping back in. It was like, oh, I don't like that. So all of a sudden, my outer self was making me feel bad. Now, in that example, I was in a positive enough frame of mind that I would then be focused and do something about it, but it can be very much that just catching your reflection in a mirror or a picture of you that makes you see bits of you that you didn't really want to see can really kind of cause negative outcomes. So negative perception of the you that you see can be kind of really problematic. But in terms of ways to get wins on outer self, then just think back to what you can do. When was the last time you felt really good about perhaps your hair or your skin or whatever? Because anything that brings the outer self up by, let's say, a +1, just that little bit better, makes us feel better about ourselves. That creates a little bit of momentum and allows us to move through and get a better outcome. Projected self is another really kind of good one. I now only wear clothes that I feel good in, because there's no point in wearing something that makes me really self-conscious. So another great example of that would have been, if I had a t-shirt that was too tight around my tummy, then I would feel that was really kind of drawing everyone's attention to a part of me, or even drawing my attention to a part of me that I didn't like at that particular time. So wearing clothes we really like, or wearing jewellery we really like, expressing ourselves and showing the world the version of us that we want to show, can be a really positive thing. Getting your hair done, getting your skin done, getting your nails done. All of these things affect that environment, which affect how you feel, stories you tell yourself, thoughts, of course, actions and outcome. Home space is another one. Imagine you wake up in the morning and your room's an absolute clutter, and then you go into the bathroom and it's an absolute mess. How are you likely to feel? Is it going to serve you to have this brilliant day and be really determined and kind of raise your game and push forward and be purposeful? Or is it just going to make you want to kind of almost kind of pull back a bit from everything? Is it going to negatively impact on on you? So home space, really important. What can you do to make your home space better? Whether it be kind of a nice piece of art that you appreciate, whether it be playing some music, whether it be kind of scented kind of candles, or whatever the thing is. What can you do that increases how you feel, improves how you feel in your home space, so that ultimately feelings are up, thoughts and stories get better, and your whole experience of life is feeling that bit better, and it's colouring kind of everything, ultimately leading to better actions and again, better outcomes. Workspace. The one that came up with that yesterday, of course there's loads. I mean, your desk could be a clutter, or it could be kind of really tidy, or somewhere in between. But the one that came up yesterday is we had